of English Language Essentials, your guide to English language learning only here in SDO Bayawan TV. I am Teacher Charel, your teacher broadcaster at your service. Come and join me as we conquer and discover the world of oral communication. Now, grab your pen, paper, and self-learning module as we start our journey. Are you ready? Do you know that communication with others takes place into a new experience? You are either the one starting the conversation process or the ones receiving it. Imagine your life in the world you live in without proper communication procedure. Would there be order or chaos? Would there be understanding or misunderstanding? Just like in fashion designing, designers need models to showcase their creation. Do you know that in oral communication, there are also models that we use in order to deliver our message? Now, turn to page 8 of your module and together, let's get to know the models of communication process. The 3 models of communication are linear communication, interactive communication, transactional communication. Have you talked to somebody but did not get any reaction from them? Have you experienced sending a message without receiving any feedback? If your answer is yes, then that is linear communication. Linear communication is one way, focusing on the transmission of a message to a receiver who never responds or has no way of responding to the information conveyed. For instance, listening to the radio. A competition organizer is presenting the contest mechanics. The message is final and cannot be contented at all. It could be the president giving his State of the Nation address on the national television, or a student who reads a poem or tells a story in front of an audience in a school program. Other examples include sending a notification or automated message that does not require a reply, reading a blog, or even the traditional way of sending a message such as a telegram. Look at the illustration presented in Figure 1, page 9 of your module that shows the elements present in Shannon-Weaver model of communication as linear communication. An example of linear type of communication is the Shannon-Weaver model. It is also considered as the mother of all communication models. It has one-way process starting from the source or the producer of the message, which is passing through a channel that we call signals, and it is adapted for transmission, which may at times be interrupted by noise or what we call barrier to our receiver, who is a decoder of message from the signal. The process stops after the message has arrived at its destination. Now, let me share you a dialogue between Griselda and her mother and see how the communication process happens. In the dialogue, Aling Tere was able to respond to Griselda's question right away, which makes the situation a concrete example of interactive communication. Interactive communication or approach is a two-way communication process where a response is given after a message is sent. The recipient of the action intentionally or unintentionally gives the feedback associated with the information received. Look at this illustration. This is the Schramm model of communication. Schramm visualized the process of communication as an exchange of thoughts and ideas. Feedback was added to the Shannon-Weaver model. The recipient of the message decodes it and creates a feedback based on his understanding of the information sent and vice versa. The figure identifies the 6 elements of communication, which are the sender, the message sent, the receiver, and the feedback provided by the receiver and sent back as a response to the sender, and the processes of encoding and decoding. What usually happens when you are with your friends during recess at the canteen? For sure, you are talking things of different topics. Don't you know that in that situation, another communication process takes place? That is what we call a transactional communication. Communication is dynamic. It has a complex nature. It takes place among individuals at any given time with any given subject. However, there are tendencies that barriers would interfere, which may create a sudden impact and change the processing of information. In a classroom setting, for example, you are being grouped into 5 or 6 members for an activity. Your task is to give an opinion or reaction to the closure of the biggest television network in the Philippines. Each of you expresses your thoughts regarding the matter. While having that activity, you also heard the junior high school graders having their dance practice for the upcoming event. That noise did not interrupt your discussion as you gave your own views. This situation is an example of a transactional approach. The transactional model shows a circular process of interaction between the person involved in the communication, with each one identifying, participating, and sharing ideas with one another. Now, let's wrap them all up. The 3 models of communication are linear communication, which is best represented by Shannon Weaver model. Interactive communication, which is best represented by Schramm model. And transactional communication. So, there you have it. Now you have learned that communication is a dynamic process. It evolves with different people in varying contexts through time. This is once again Teacher Charel, your teacher broadcaster. Thank you for watching and see you again to the next episode.